Hey, good morning to everybody. It is a very humid, warm 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. All right, I want to talk about yesterday's jackboot feds video. Trump supporters, stop right here. Before you run down to the comment section and just start ranting away, do yourselves a favor and actually watch this video all the way through. Yesterday, I'm gonna take the responsibility and the fault of my experiment somewhat failing yesterday. Okay, the story yesterday, it was a basic story. Trump is trying to distract from his complete failure of the COVID virus by sending Homeland Security Fed troops to Portland. All right. This morning I put in searches as if I was a conservative viewer. I put in searches asking for videos of destruction in Portland. Homeland Security protects property. I found nothing. There, I found two videos. Found one video. It talked about the Homeland Security chief going to Portland before the troops were sent there, and him describing these people as anarchists and agitators, and there was one video of protesters moving around a chain link fence. It appears like they were trying to set it up in a different fashion. It didn't even look like they were tearing it down. I found one other video on, I believe, what's called Ripley. I never heard of this channel before. It showed a courthouse at night. I believe it was a courthouse in Portland. I believe the Homeland Security were already in there. It seemed like the protesters were drawn to the Homeland Security already in there, because you could see the Homeland Security kind of watching out the door, watching to see where the protesters were. The protesters start being drawn to the presence of all these troops at the courthouse. As the protesters get closer, the Homeland Security comes out what I think is a courthouse door. There's graffiti on the courthouse. They come out and they start throwing flaming tear gas canisters at the protesters. Dozens of flaming canisters into the streets at the protesters. And that's what we had. Those are the only two videos. Obviously, these troops were sent to Portland just for distraction. There was any videos of any destruction, any looting, any of that stuff happened well over a month ago. There was no need to send these troops into Portland. Now, the video I did yesterday, I didn't want to do a video where I was rehashing, just like reporting on a story that pretty much everybody already knew. So my idea was to ask Trump supporters, how they could validate this, because we see these videos of armed militia going into the Michigan State House, armed to the teeth, confronting, screaming at legislators because they don't want to wear a mask. They want their freedoms. They don't want to be held down by the government. Then how about Virginia, where there were just hundreds of people all concerned that the government was going to come down there in tanks, and tanks would be rolling through their fields. The troops would be coming through there, and they're all upset. They're all against this government incursion in their freedoms and privacy and all that. But big 180. Now, all of a sudden, well, these people in Portland deserved it because they were agitators and anarchists and liberals. Yesterday's video, I just wanted to hear the hypocrisy. I was simply asking for Trump supporters to tell me how could you talk out of both sides of your face? Okay? I want to draw some Trump supporters into that video, so I put jackboot feds. This is where I failed. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to take responsibility for this. I didn't take into account that Trump supporters do not want to hear anything. What they did was they read the title, they clicked on my video, and they immediately ran down to the comment section and started ranting, all triggered, assuming and lecturing me about the one thing that I didn't want to do. They assumed that I was rehashing a story. One of the commenters said something about, you're rehashing a story you don't even know. You live in Connecticut. You sound like you just watched an MSNBC video and you're just sitting in front of a camera rehashing the story. That's exactly what I didn't do yesterday. I didn't want to do and I didn't do. I started the video off saying it's a simple story, and then I went into explaining how the point of this video is to ask Trump supporters to tell me how they could validate this. And they didn't even get to that part. They clicked on the video and they ran down to the comment section and assumed what the rest of the video said and just ranted from there on. My fault. I did not take into account Trump supporters' willful ignorance. Big mistake by me. All right, I am going to talk about what's going on in Portland, because this morning I started doing searches as if I was a complete Trump supporter, conservative, looking for evidence of the destruction in Portland to validate sending the troops there. I do this, I'm not the kind of person that goes to MSNBC or CNN just to get one side of the story and then come back here and rehash it. That's not the purpose of this channel. That's a waste of everybody's time. I want the truth. I just want the plain truth. I don't care if it's something I don't like. I want the truth. So this morning, I did several searches on DuckDuckGo, Google, Samsung Internet, and I found almost nothing. No evidence of any real destruction, rioting, any of that the Trump administration claims was the reason to send these feds into Portland. Now let's talk about that. They're picking people up without due process, without any charges, throwing them in unmarked trucks. We're talking about China here. We're talking about Russia. This is exactly why I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016. This is exactly why I started this channel. This is exactly why I'm voting for Biden, and we can't have 4 more years of this. It's actually starting. Trump's move into dictatorship, into real authoritarianism. He's talked about how he idolizes Kim Jong-il, how he idolizes Vladimir Putin. Here you go. Yeah. So Trump supporters, you missed the boat yesterday. You should have watched the whole video. I just wanted your opinion. I wanted to understand how you could validate hypocrisy. You know, how you could complain about the big government and your freedoms. You want your freedoms. You have freedom to bear arms, freedom of speech, freedom to not wear a mask, freedom to be irresponsible. That's basically what you Trump supporters want, is all your freedoms to do and say whatever you want. Scream fire in a crowded theater, movie house. You want no repercussions and no responsibility for your freedoms. You just want to be able to do damn well whatever you please, despite anybody else. But, God forbid, any liberals want the same rights. Well then, see, you want law and order. You want 2 sets of justice. You want a system of justice for you guys. A system of justice that gives you all the freedoms and with no responsibility to do and say whatever you please. You want that system of justice for you. Then you want a system of justice for them, the minorities, the others. You want them to be cracked down on. You don't, God forbid they gather. They have freedom of speech. then, well, then no, we can't have that. You want two systems of justice. It's not real law and order. It's authoritarian. It's from Russia. You talk about liberals being communists. Look at what you're supporting. Look at what you're supporting. The secret police. Literally Trump's secret police in our cities. Picking up people without charges, without anything, without explanation. Then, when they're smart enough to ask for a lawyer, they let them go. This has to stop. This has to stop. And all it is a distraction. There was no reason to send these troops there. All right. You guys have a good Sunday.